Hello everyone, welcome to Inconvenient Truths. I'm your host, Jennifer Zeng. First of all, I'd like to say something very strange happened today. I just actually finished my live streaming, and later I found although I've talked for about 30 minutes, there was only a 6-minute video left over on YouTube. So I have to re-upload a new one and by pre-recording this one. So I'm pre-recording this so to upload it later. So now this is what I've already talked about 30 minutes ago. So let's start. A few days ago, Reuters reported that China's gene giant harvests data from millions of women. People may have wondered, why would it do so? What can a company do with the data? Today I will show you a video of a speech made by the director of this company in 2017, as well as 2 earlier speeches by the CCP's defense minister Chi Haotian to give you an idea of what could be done with the data it harvested and why the world should feel very scared. Basically, Wang Jin, the director of this company called BGI, said back in 2017 that in the next 5 to 10 years, they can create any life with medical methods. The progress of artificial life could be faster than artificial intelligence. He also talked about how humankind is experiencing rapid and earth-shaking change from transgenics, gene editing, to gene synthesis. He talked about industrial-level gene synthesis and how they can create bacteria in just 2 days, and they can create both good and terrible ones, etc. He also mentioned the creation of a virus and how the human being's warfare has evolved from cold weapon, hot weapon, atomic bomb to live weapon, which is bioweapon, etc. Without further ado, let's watch the 2-minute speech together. Please make sure you read the English subtitles.
我们合成了一个酵母，原来可以合成一个病毒，后来可以做成一个细菌，现在做成了一个酵母。酵母有多大呢？1200万个碱基。我们一个人的基因的细胞的基因有多大呢？30亿。现在我们已经到1000万水平了，所以在未来的5到10年，我们可以化学合成任何生命。这不是开玩笑，也不是吓唬大家。这个人造生命进展可能比人工智能还快，它带来的社会问题、伦理问题、宗教问题、哲学问题、法律问题会更大，但是它对社会的冲击，你喜不喜欢，它都来了。所以从转基因到基因编辑到基因合成，这是一个迅猛的，几年之内就发生天翻地覆的变化。特别是基因合成，它是一个工业化水平的来做的。过去我们好几年，一年能做100万的水平，可能18年我们就能做到1个月100万的水平，到19年能够做到1个星期100万水平，到2020就每天就做100万。100万是什么意思呢？那个大肠杆菌就是200万，我2天就可以做成一个细菌，可以做成一个好的菌，也可以做这个害怕的细菌。这个人类的从冷兵器到热兵器到原子弹，一定会过渡到活的，那是非常可怕的。 但是预防措施也会跟上。
Now, tell us what you think after watching his speech by typing in a comment. This speech was made on December 26, 2017 at the 2017 China Shenzhen Business and Global Dragon Business Conference. So yeah, this is an official report about that conference. Let's quickly see a few pictures. Picture 2. So these are some of the representatives and the speakers at the conference. Next. This is a photo showing everyone standing up when they play the CCP's national anthem. You can see there were thousands of people there. The next picture. So this is a photo of the business leaders who won awards at that conference. So that was in 2017, and Wang Jin, as one of the important speakers in that conference, openly and proudly talked about creating lives, viruses, bacteria, good and terrible ones, in the bioweapon era, and how many basic gene groups they could process in a day, etc. Then, from 2018 to 2020, there are quite a few reports that a staff member called Wang Duming at China's National Gene Bank's Operation Center in Jiangsu Province reported with his real name about some problems with BGI, including that BGI had bribed officials to illegally gain state land to do real estate development, and that BGI had edited the genes of at least 58 babies and intended to engage in creating customized humans, etc. But BGI had quickly denied all the allegations and sued Wang Duming. There were also reports about Wang Duming being threatened and even beaten up very badly in 2020, with his cell phone being robbed. So these are his medical reports showing that 4 of his ribs were broken, his head, heart, and lungs all suffered damages, and he had been hospitalized for 8 days when he posted these images, etc. The medical report was issued on November 2nd, 2020. If we only read this, we may think, oh, that's a China thing. What do this have to do with us? Well, now let's see this Reuters report published only a few days ago on July the 7th. The report says a Chinese gene company selling prenatal tests around the world developed them in collaboration with the country's military and is using them to connect genetic data from millions of women for sweeping research on the traits of populations. Well, a Chinese gene company here is exactly BGI. The video we just watched is a speech by its director Wang Jin in 2017. Reuters report says US government advisors owned in March that a vast bank of genomic data that the company BGI Group is amassing and analyzing with artificial intelligence could give China a path to economic and military advantage, and science pinpoints new links between genes and human traits, access to the biggest, most diverse set of human genomes is a strategic edge. The technology could propel China to dominate global pharmaceutical and also potentially lead to genetically enhanced soldiers or engineered pathogens to target the US population or food supply. Reuters has found that BGI's prenatal test, one of the most popular in the world, is a source of genetic data for the company, which has worked with the Chinese military to improve population quality and on genetic research to combat hearing loss and altitude sickness in soldiers. So far, more than 8 million women have taken BGI's prenatal tests globally. BGI has not said how many of the women took the test aboard and said it only stores location data on women in mainland China. The scale of BGI's accumulation of prenatal data and its collaboration with the military in prenatal and neonatal research has not been previously reported. The company has published at least a dozen joint studies on the tests with the People's Liberation Army (PLA) since 2010. Trialing and improving the tests or analyzing the data they provided. DNA data connected from prenatal tests on women outside China has also been stored in China's government-funded gene database, one of the world's largest. BGI, in which the Shenzhen city government and Beijing's largest state investment vehicle took stakes in 2014, runs that gene bank. Beijing made clear in 2019 regulations that genetic data can be a national security matter, and since 2015 it has restricted foreign researchers from accessing gene data on Chinese people. In contrast, the United States and Britain gave foreign researchers access to genetic data as part of open science policies. Reuters also says the findings offer new insight into how BGI is using vast computing power to unlock genomic secrets. Previously, Reuters revealed how the company rapidly expanded its gene sequencing labs globally and gained a role in other nations' health systems, and how it worked with China's military on research ranging from mass testing for respiratory pathogens to brain science. Reuters says that BGI tests are marketed in at least 13 European Union countries, including Germany, Spain, and Denmark, as well as in Britain, Canada, Australia, Thailand, India, and Pakistan. They are not sold in the United States, but is a pivotal player in the genomics race between China and the United States. The data connected by BGI offer insight into foreign populations as well as China's own. Computer instructions that BGI uses to process the data show it connects a wide range of information about customers besides their genetic code. This includes the women's country, medical history, and the sex of the fetus, etc. Reuters also reported that BGI shot to global prominence last year after selling or donating millions of COVID-19 test kits and gene sequencing labs outside China. U.S. security agencies warned this was part of an effort to connect large amounts of foreign genetic material. BGI said this year it has built 80 COVID-19 labs in 30 countries, which it plans to repurpose for reproductive health screening. Reuters also showed screenshots that show inside BGI's offices in mainland China, huge screens update in real time as samples harvested from the test of pregnant Chinese women are uploaded to the China National Gene Bank. The screens also show the location of the women. Reuters also says that at least 500 women who had taken the test, including some outside China, are stored in the government-funded China National Gene Bank. A report to the U.S. Director of National Intelligence by science and medical experts warned last year that large genomic data sets can be used to design disease therapies, yet they also expose genetic vulnerabilities in the population. An adversary could exploit a susceptibility to disease in a targeted genetic attack. Reuters reports that as BGI's testing has grown, so has its secondary research. 2 years ago, BGI researchers wrote in a scientific paper that they had reanalyzed 1.393 million tests processed in BGI labs between 2016 and 2017. Reuters says that BGI has reused the data of almost all of the tests it processed to do secondary research. BGI researchers wrote in a 2018 scientific paper published in Cell that for more than a decade, scientists worldwide has searched for a cost-effective way to study the genetic profiles of a whole population of people. A handful of efforts reached tens of thousands of participants, but anything larger stalled on cost and logistics. Leftover samples and test data from prenatal tests meant BGI could run studies on an unprecedented scale. Okay, so from this we can understand why massive data is so important to BGI. The Reuters also says that the BGI researchers were also able to trace genetic distinctions between the China's dominant Han Chinese ethnic group and minorities, including Uyghurs and Tibetans, and look at population movements and intermarriage caused by Chinese government policy since 1949. This data was later released to other Chinese researchers studying how significantly different genetic variations in Uyghurs affected the response to drugs. That is, according to a 2019 scientific paper. Well, these are some of the facts reported by Reuters a few days ago. Now, if we look at these facts and what BGI's director Wang Jin said in 2017, we will have a better idea of what they could be doing. First of all, we need to bear in mind that in China, there is no such a thing as a private sector, especially when it comes to important issues such as national security and technological edge over other countries. From Wang Jin's speech, we can learn that the CCP knows very well that we are in a bioweapon era, and the CCP scientists are dreaming about creating lives, including viruses, bacteria, and customized humans with chemical methods. They believe lives are just combinations of genes and chemical materials, so they think if they have enough information about genes, they can create any life. If they can create lives with chemical weapons, how about destroying lives with the same method? As early as between 2003 and 2005, 2 secret speeches made by the CCP's Defense Minister Chi Haotian were widely circulated on the internet. The titles of these 2 speeches are "The War is Coming to Us" and "The War is Not Far from Us. It is the midwife of the Chinese century." In these speeches, apart from advocating war for the Chinese century, Chi Haotian also discussed the reasons behind it. He allegedly claimed that in order to gain more living space for the Chinese nation and for the CCP to maintain its ruling status, it must lead the Chinese people to go out of China and to expand their development to overseas countries. By going out, Chi Haotian meant clear the land of America and have their own people take over America. He said in his speech, "Would the United States allow us to go out and gain new living space?" Then he said, "We are not as foolish as to want to perish together with America by using nuclear weapons. Only by using non-destructive weapons that can kill many people will we be able to reserve America for ourselves." The answer is found in biological weapons, he said. "Of course, we have not been idle. In the past years, we have seized the opportunity to master weapons of this kind." Actually, the CCP considers biological weapons to be the most important weapons for accomplishing their goal of cleaning up America. Zhi Haotian credits former CCP leader Deng Xiaoping with putting biological weapons ahead of all other weapon systems in the Chinese arsenal. When he said, quote, "When Comrade Deng Xiaoping was still with us, the party Central Committee had the vision to make the right decision not to develop aircraft carrier groups and focus instead on developing lethal weapons that can eliminate mass populations of the enemy country," unquote. He also said, "In the long run, the relationship between China and the United States is one of a life and death struggle. We must not forget that the history of our civilization repeatedly has taught us that one mountain does not allow two tigers to live together." Well, when those speeches were leaked in 2003 and 2005, nobody in the West paid much attention, as it was hard to verify whether they were true or not. However, as a Chinese who understands the Chinese language and the CCP's language, I didn't doubt that they were indeed the speeches of a CCP general. Only I never expected that 17 years later, the world would be devastated by a virus called COVID-19. Well, that's all I plan to say for today. So this is a second run of recording my speech, as the first live streaming was not properly stored by YouTube. I still don't know the reason. So that's all for today. I can't take questions now as it's not live. So I'll see you on Thursday, and thank you for watching.